ID on you?
I do.
Michael, what's a good telephone number for you?
That's going to be 8. Hello everybody, Michael LeBlanc here, sitting with you wherever you are, and why don't you come along with me while I decide to meet 2 of my goals today. And my goals are very simple. One is just to throw away a bag that has a whole bunch of stuff in there that I just don't need, and the other one is to go to Walmart to find something that I don't need, but I think might be delicious. About a month and a half ago, I found this bag sitting outside of my house, and it had this, which is an iPad wrapped in tinfoil, in it. Now, the whole reason that I have them still is I thought maybe I could reach out to the guy. I found his email by, well, cracking into the iPad and trying to get in touch with him. And then I wrapped the whole thing in tinfoil to try to buffer some of the, signal, because as much as I want to get this out to the person who owns this stuff, I don't need him knocking on my door. As far as what's in this bag, it's purple drink, some gardening supplies, and some books on numerology. And I've waited this long to try to get in touch with him because I'm pretty sure he got in trouble with the cops already. But there's a lot of dreams and whatnot in this bag, things that he wants to do with his life, like become a clothes designer, become an influencer. Like, he wants to do other stuff with his life, but he's also entangled with some stuff that the cops just don't like. So I don't know what else this guy's up to, but I hope he's okay. I hope he's well, but I got to get rid of this stuff. I've decided that I'm going to throw it away in a dumpster that is in this town but nowhere near my house. So we've got to go find a dumpster that kind of meets that criteria. And I'm thinking maybe the central hub of the town. I know that there's a dumpster somewhere around here. There's some dumpsters over here. Time to enact my plan. Now, I'm not quite sure what's going down here in downtown, but there are a whole bunch of groups walking around, but I'm sure no one's going to care if I just take something out of my car and throw it into a dumpster. I've been kind of struggling with the morality of what to do with this thing, because there's stuff in here that when it gets traced, if it gets traced back to the guy who owns this stuff, it can get him in trouble. But if he's already in trouble, then it may just compound the problem. So all of that just sounds like something I shouldn't necessarily enact out of my own karmic sphere. So I'm going to dump the stuff. Hopefully it gets trashed into a little cube somewhere, and I'm going to leave the iPad uncovered in the tinfoil, and maybe he'll find that. It's the most expensive thing, I think, maybe. There is a lot of gardening supplies inside of this bag, but this is a new iPad with an iPad pen in it and everything, or an iPen, or whatever the hell that thing's called. Okay, I got paranoid. There are cameras all over the place, and if for some reason somebody sees me illegally dumping something, because the dumpsters say no dumping, we're gonna go find somewhere else. I'm battling with some kind of morality here. Now I don't even know if I want to throw it in a dumpster. Like, should I just get rid of it in a ravine? Like, I just feel like it's so sketchy just seeing a dude like take a relatively nice looking backpack out of his car and throw it into a dumpster. Maybe it's a thing where I just don't like people like looking at me, perceiving me, or something like that, but I just feel like this is something that needs to be done where nobody's gonna go, hey, what's that guy doing? And again, there's stuff in here that implicates this dude. I don't want this stuff to be found and him to be in like worse trouble. But then again, like, maybe he did it to himself and I shouldn't put it on my own karmic struggles. Fuck, I don't know. I consulted ChatGPT. Everything is indicating that I should turn things in to the authorities. Like, what good would that do? Like, especially if the dude's already in trouble. Like, I don't want to compound his problems. But again, it's not my karmic circle, it's his. It's just intertwined with mine. So, like, if getting rid of the stuff to the authorities just extricates his circle from mine and we just go our separate ways, is that the right thing to do? I don't know. Again, I don't want to throw this away and have it fall into the hands of somebody else. But then again, getting rid of the supplies safely is probably the best idea. I mean, the liquid in there is pretty volatile. I wouldn't want that falling into the hands of somebody who doesn't know what it is. The gardening supplies, it's whatever. I've never really vilified that substance myself, so I guess we turn it in to the police. I realize that I've never been in this area before, and I think I look lost and possibly suspicious as I'm going to all the separate buildings to try to figure out Which is the best one to deposit a bag of gardening supplies in? I guess I'm gonna go to the one that says police and not like state or court or something. Try to have you guys on camera during this because I don't know. Safety? Recording? I have no clue. Hey, I am standing in the office, and I have a bag of something that probably needs to be turned into you guys instead of where I found it. Well, it's a backpack that was dumped on my lawn. It was a bag full of spiritual books, a sizable amount of marijuana, and what I can only imagine to be purple drink, but I don't know. My address is... My name is Michael LeBlanc. That's going to be 845. It was like on the sidewalk. Looked like it had been thrown. I guess we're gonna wait in the lobby instead of the call room. It would be to turn it into you guys. There's an iPad in there as well. Looks like there was something on the pin. It was wrapped in the foil that it was in there. Just rewrapped it. And I don't want this thing anymore.
Michael, what's a good telephone number for you?
That's gonna be 8.
Is this your current address?
Yes it is.
All right. This your vehicle?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'll get you out your vehicle.
Alrighty, sounds good.
What day did you find it?
And it's been a few weeks, about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for turning it in.
Not a problem. We're gonna grab ourselves something to eat. So I guess my question is why do all interactions that I have with the police feel so layered? Like showing up to their nobody in the office, picking up a phone, giving all that guy my information, talking to the cop when they happen to show up, giving them all my information again, not only giving them some information that they wrote down on a pad, but giving them my ID so they can put this information into a computer to use for God knows what. When all I wanted to do was get rid of something that wasn't mine, that was filled full of something that somebody else shouldn't have. It should have just been like, hey, what's your name? Once, maybe. What's your number? Where do you live? I understand that because that's probably going to go into like an investigation of some kind. That's fine. Why did it have to be done in triplicate? But forget all that. I'm going to shamelessly eat all this Taco Bell that I just ordered, and then we're going to go to Walmart because I think they have what I need. Let's go to Walmart. Yeah, see, Walmart. As you saw, I like to put Sprite Zero in my drinks. Now, when I get this particular drink, I'm not going to be mixing it with anything because it's already a mix. If you're not aware, Sprite has teamed up with tea, or at least tea flavoring, because I don't think there's any actual tea in the drink, and it's called Sprite Plus Tea. And evidently there's a zero sugar. And if there's any store in my area that carries it, it's going to be this place. Now, if there's one thing I'm notorious about is getting sidetracked and buying things at Walmart that I don't need. Like $1 Hawaiian Punch. Focus, Michael. I just realized they also have $1 Powerades. It's probably a good idea if I get them at $1 instead of like $4 at the local... Ooh, an extra cart. Did like that cotton candy flavor though. Damn. You only have Sprite and tea in the regular, and then they do have the chill, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm not here for that. So I've got to pick up my monsters for the week, and of course I've got to pick up my milk for the week. May not be the liquids I want, but it's going to be the liquids I need, and I might as well go pick up the Hawaiian Punches. I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound, am I right? This will not stand. There it goes. So that's it. Thanks for spending the afternoon with me on what was most undoubtedly going to be the most exciting day out of my 3-day weekend. If you find yourself with a bag of gardening supplies and purple drink outside of your house, do what comes from the heart. Don't necessarily drive around and stare at dumpsters until you figure out what you need to do. I'm going to go ahead and go home, unpack all of those liquids, just spend the rest of my day probably editing. As always, I love you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. All right, fine. I got distracted a little bit more. Okay, my droid... Don't judge me.